allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Austin Cool here. Charles Cool here.
Griffin here. Thomas here.
Where here?
And Sarah called and said she would not be able to make it tonight. 8th grade graduation. Been there, done it. Meeting minutes approval of May 16th, 2024. And
Here?
what?
If
Roll call.
You did roll call.
Did that? Okay, what did I forget then?
If I could do it.
I was going to do that at the input.
Okay.
Thank you. Meeting minutes approval? He scared me.
Charles Cool make a motion to approve the minutes from May 16th. I'll second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Austin Cool to approve the meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now citizen input, public comment. Tim?
Mayor, I would like to request a moment of silence in commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the invasion of D-Day in Normandy, and in support of all those that were involved in that particular day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Meeting minutes summary, CBA. You're up. You're up.
Wouldn't it?
No, we're going to Jody. 5:21. You needed to be Jody there?
I was there. California.
You were gone, yeah.
Jody,
Oh,
gone to
yeah.
that meeting.
We voted on chair and co-chair, which
Okay.
is Jenny's gonna chair and I'm gonna
Zimmerman?
co-chair, yeah. And
We decided that the bid district, we're gonna let it be for a while, or
Yes.
I didn't, you guys
Yes.
did.
Yes. Been on hold.
Let them,
Yeah.
work through some other issues.
yeah, I think we're just kind of waiting for them to do, yeah, to just be more organized and wanna pursue it a little bit more. And then we talked again about like doing the planters, things like that. We're just kind of brainstorming on
Things to do.
some ideas, yeah.
Yeah. Good. We do have 2 planters that are going to be ordered for a front that will have trees in them. So at least we got that kind of going on, but I don't know if you guys got different stuff you want to do to beautify downtown, so.
I think we're gonna check too and see if the 4-H was doing
They've done stuff.
the flowers again. I haven't seen them out there, but also it's been really rainy.
Yeah,
It's up to you, so, we were just following up on that.
thank you very much. Board review,
We just met and, we talked about next meetings, so my next meetings will be, pages, August 15th, he will be here in person to open book from 10 to 3. August 16th, he'll do phone open book because of we're going through that computer reval this year, so that he'll do both days. And then the 18th of September from 9 to 11 is the actual board of review. And everything will be out and be posted in the paper,
as we get closer
yeah,
on that,
yeah. But when then we adjourned, it was just a quick one because you have to meet and then say when you're gonna re-meet, and that was it, so.
all by statute. All right, thank you. Library, Sarah is not here. Planning Commission was a short meeting. We had a CSM for the Wells property over on Clarkson. Still working through some of that, so that was tabled for a future meeting. Fire and EMS.
So we had our monthly trainings for the MPOs, the EMS, and fire, along with the meeting on the Tuesday after the holiday. The reports will actually be in your packet for the next council meeting. We also have we're down to 1 ambulance now. The chassis and the other one has been taken out to Carolina to get the remount done. And so we are down to 1 ambulance at this time.
Do we have to let, like, people know that your Mavis and
county's been notified.
Okay. Alright. Anything else? That's it? Alright.
That's short.
Good, that's fine, thank you very much. Parks Commission, Richard?
Yeah, we met last night and discussed the bids for some renovations that should be coming up soon in potentially a council meeting to
Okay.
get the backstops and those things repaired.
Did you guys approve anything?
We
or
did.
So it'll come to a future meeting, it's just not ready yet? Okay.
It should, yeah. I don't see it on tonight's meeting.
All right, Public Works, anything exciting tonight?
No, nothing that's not on the agenda for the
Below. Great, thank you. See, the public safety was canceled, and finance special meeting, Tim.
That will be coming before the council later on.
You got it, thank you very much. All right, resolutions, couple of these things, we're just doing a little cleanup from the last time. I did talk with Bill, our attorney. He says resolutions really are your kind of choice. So it's not like you have to do it, it isn't a hard and fast rule, it's pretty common to do them for specific one-off things, most notably anything to do with money, if it's not part of the budget, things like that. But if we do certain things at one time of the year, like I was talking about, we do resolutions when we appoint people, and we haven't been consistent with doing that as new people come up like throughout the year. But your situation was unique and historical because we completely changed some of the stuff with the utilities, so it's nice to be able to have that document for future reference. So in your packet, even though it's already been approved, we're bringing forth some of these resolutions just to be sure we have everything set up correctly, and it also has Tim's resignation from being a regular citizen and now an employee. So we will just as a formality go through it again, just to recognize the resolutions numbers. So resolution 2024-13, Tim Tonley's resignation from 5-year to 1 year as a commissioner. Just needs approval.
We'll move to approve resolution 2024-13, Tim Thomas resignation from 5-year to 1-year term.
Austin Cool, second.
Motion by Wired, second by Cool to approve resolution 2024-13. All in favor?
Aye.
You
Abstain.
Okay, you can abstain if you want to. All right, motion carried.
Doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't. Resolution 2024-12. Again, this wasn't necessary, but because we were trying to be consistent on anything money-wise that wasn't necessarily set up ahead of time. The speed board, and where's the speed board? Why don't I have the speed board? 12. Come on, 12, where are you? There it is, I turned it over already. Resolution authorizing the purchase of a new speed board for the police department using unused wage funds.
Thomas, make a motion to approve resolution 2024-12, and speed board approval.
Charles Cool, second.
Motion by Thomas, second by Charlie Cool to approve 2024-12. Roll call.
Austin Cool, yes. Charles Cool, yes.
Griffin, yes.
Thomas, yes.
Weird, yes.
Hassel, yes.
Motion carried. 2024-14, Elders approval for financial planning management service. What do we got here? Compensation $15,000. There's 3 different components to it. Again, this is what we brought up for last week, and now we just, last meeting. Same thing. So resolution 2024-14, Elders approval.
Thomas, make a motion to approve resolution 2024-14.
Charles Cool, second.
Motion by Thomas, second by Charlie Cool to approve. Roll call.
Austin Cool, yes. Charles Cool, yes.
Griffin, yes.
Thomas, yes.
Weird, yes.
Hassel, yes.
Motion carried. New business, 2024-17, accepting bid from Forest Landscaping for manhole repair and replacement at Fireman's Park. Still don't know exactly how this all happened, so can you give me a quick little update what the deal was with this?
The manhole sunk after a couple years.
But where was this manhole?
Out by third base.
On
The
the,
manhole that's set up high
on the main ball diamond?
over by the main ball diamond.
Okay, and it sank?
It sank so
That's
many
weird.
inches that the flow would just kind of stay in that manhole.
Yeah.
And it would slowly leach to the lift station.
I
the first time we did it?
Yeah, cause that
Can't
was
say that
that was a capital project, I believe, to fix that, Paul, if I remember right.
I believe.
It was a capital project, so we're probably paying on it, but.
Interesting. But there's no such thing as like a warranty or anything like that on it? Yeah.
Probably a year.
Probably, yeah,
Act of
okay.
God, and it just sunk,
Well, and it is very wet down there as a normal, you know.
Saturated soil.
Yeah. All right, so resolution 2024-17. And in here it does say that the funds are coming out of the DPW chip sealing budget. So, any other questions on this?
Where will move to approve with the changing of bid to quote?
Changing of bid, a resolution accepting the bid. Ah, gotcha. Because it's really a quote?
It is a quote.
Okay.
The bidding process was foregone. And
Correct.
it's below the threshold for bidding.
Got it. Wonderful. All right.
Charles Poole, second.
Motion by Ware, second by Cool to approve 2024-17 with the change of word from bid to quote. Roll call.
Austin Cool, yes.
Charles Poole, yes.
Griffin, yes.
Thomas, yes.
Laird, yes.
Hassler, yes.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. All right, recommendations, boards, committees, and commissions. Special finance meeting tonight. Resolution 2024-15, clear gov. Unless you want Lonnie to take it.
Just prior to this meeting, we had a special finance committee meeting to view the grid of the software that is part of resolution 2024-15. And the committee on the council saw at least part of that
Presentation.
presentation. Lana,
Over there.
over there.
Well, the system itself, I think, is going to, it's really modernizing the way that we do things. The one thing after being here a little over a year now, I realize that there's so many working components with our budget, so many spreadsheets for personnel, so many spreadsheets for that, and I think being able to to modernize this and have the ability to do changes on the spot or reduce the errors that do happen, because again, we have all these formulas and working components, so it really takes away getting rid of Planet, all of that, in my view. I'm really for the system. I think that it's going to help, it's gonna save time, all the things that we really need to do here, so. I'm glad that a few of you were able to sit in on it, so it's not just hearing what we're blabbing right now, that you actually had a chance to see the system. So she went through it pretty quick. She could have probably sat there for an hour, but I think it, from start to finish, and being able to put it on our website for our citizens to be able to see, which is a huge thing, the narrative, just all the things, and the training. That's one thing that my view is not done and will not do. Right now, we're just under $5,000 a year just alone for that product itself.
And they can't tweak it the way we want it to be tweaked and,
No.
yeah.
It's been very frustrating in general dealing with that, but I think it'll help the department heads. I think it'll help us cut down on meetings, being able to do a lot of these changes right on site and doing it, see what it does to the budget, saying, oh, next time, let's update it and then take a look at it. I
Right.
think we can do a lot at one time.
Real time is what I'm excited
So
about.
there will be some economy in getting rid of the Planet software, correct, that was used before,
And Clearview.
which wasn't connected in any way.
No,
So
no.
we're moving to more of a single source. Casella is actually our bookkeeping
Yep.
software,
And
so
they
it's a
work
single
with
source of
Clearview.
truth. We're just using tools to make sure that.
And then everything that we,
Efficient manner.
right, and everything that we do when it comes to, like I said, even with the union, that would have been, great during that negotiations and that type of thing, but everything that we do will forward into the operating budget, so it's not all these different steps that it'll just feed right into it. So that's, again, it's just mainstreaming our whole process and saving time. I mean, it's easier doing something like this than spending all that time and then having to hire somebody else with all the projects that we have coming up. This is really gonna help. At least I
And
believe
that's
so.
a question we've asked Public Works and with utilities too, is, what does it look like in the future? How are we gonna pay for some of this stuff? When do we gotta start major highway project.
And I think it'll help, you know, with the others that we're doing, and then this stuff, you know, being able to really watch this
Yeah.
over the timeframe that we have, the 5 to 7 years, so.
And even Chief is gonna be able to figure out how to log in and put it in, and now you can.
Yeah, we're gonna do
Yes,
some
talking to
training.
you. That'll be a good thing. And as long as we get rid of all those other lines and all that confusion stuff, yeah.
That's,
That'd be nice.
that's kind of a big thing too for me. I mean, it sounds petty, but I mean, it's so easy to make the mistakes with that, so.
And customizing it for us to look at it as all of us see the same data at the same time, you know, sometimes.
During our meetings, we.
Yes, yes.
So she is gonna find out about the notes, but I'm
Good.
pretty, I mean, she's very quick with that, but I really think that if you can feed off certain areas of that sheet that she was referring to, I can't imagine that you
One
can't put
could
notes as well,
Can
but,
export that too, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so the software has a setup investment fee of $2,500, which is not due until 2025. The annual subscription fee is $11,000. It, as we're going through half the year, the cost will, for 2024, will be prorated to $6,416.67. Plus, we're getting rid of two
Other programs.
programs.
At what cost?
Just under the 5,000,
For both?
yes,
So it's double.
yes.
Be double.
How, what is Ellers bringing to the table that is gonna be overlapped with this?
I don't think there's necessarily an overlap. What they're doing is a projection over the 5, 7 years with our projects. This is really on our end, you know, our budget. I mean, it'll feed off of that. I mean, we're looking at what they're doing and the projects that come up, but this is on an annual basis of how we're budgeting our payroll. That's not gonna be part of it.
All right, Elders will be talking more about funding and
yes.
borrowing and
What
when
we
would be
need
a
to do,
good time,
yes.
when, based on all our current debt, as things drop off, when would be a good time?
Yes.
Maybe in '27, we borrow more for our '28 project, based on the other, because we want our taxes to stay here, we don't want these spikes. So, based on when things drop off and things come on, you want to kind of keep your tax base right
And that
here.
really is a business plan. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically a 7-year plan, a business plan, but, you know, the actual budget will be able to keep on track, but that's just because he's mapped it out for 7 years. It has to be you know, it's gonna be updated all the time. I mean, it's not gonna be
And
down
that's
to
gonna also encompass TIF as a
Correct.
contingency
Yes,
as
and that's a
well,
big
give
thing
us-
too.
Give us advice on if we're financed correctly on that, or if
Mhm.
we're due for some refinancing, which we've
Right.
done in the middle, so.
And I think that should have
It's
been
sort
done a
of-
long time ago.
Correct.
It's not apples to apples, but one
Right.
plays into the
Yes,
other, for
exactly.
sure, in forecast.
And they know with expenditure restraints and things like that, when you close a TIF, what it does, and it kind of map all that
Yeah,
fun
and
stuff
some
out.
of those rules and guidelines
Yeah.
have somewhat changed, so there's, especially with personal property and going away and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
so.
Yep. All right,
So,
any other questions?
and like, just to, for everybody to hear, is that they are prorating that. And this is a 3-year contract, but it states in there that if we are not budgeting for this for prior, the contract's void. So if we at the end of the year decide this isn't for us, we can walk away from that. So she told you that.
Mhm.
So just so you're aware of that, it's not, I don't think, like I said, with the 97%, 96% approval, that we would, but we have that ability to do it. So we're kind of coming into it, I guess, in a way, in a good time. But
Yep, as long as you get it all up and running in budget time.
yeah, and that's why the key was to do it, why we had the meeting or whatever, because then it's crunch time to get this done so we can actually, you know, benefit value of all of it, so.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Thomas, make a motion to approve resolution 2024-15 to purchase the ClearGov software.
Charles Poole, second.
Motion by Thomas, second by Charlie Cool to approve 2024 ClearGov. Where's the money coming come from? Are we using this contingency? Is that-
Contingency.
Contingency.
Yes.
Where's it saying that, sorry?
It says for.
Yeah, right there, big words,
It
it's
says for, it
authorization of
says from.
expenditure,
Should
can't
say
miss
from.
it. There we go, perfect. All right, roll call.
Austin Cool, yes. Charles Cool, yes.
Griffin, no. Thomas, yes.
Where, no.
Haslell, yes.
Motion carried. Resolution 2024-11, awarding a contract for chip sealing base.
We received bids for the annual chip seal project to do maintenance on those that we've recently reconstructed. Bids came in under budget for the amount that we had budgeted, and I will make a motion to approve resolution 2024-11, awarding the contract for chip sealing.
Austin Cool, second.
Motion by Wire, second by Austin Cool to approve resolution 2024-11, chip sealing. Any other questions? It's under, well, it's still mine. Roll call.
Austin Cool, yes. Charles Cool, yes.
Griffin, yes. Thomas, yes.
Where, yes.
Haslell, yes.
Motion carried. Future agenda items and announcements. Farmers market started yesterday. I could not make it. I don't know how good of an attendance it was, but at least the weather wasn't raining for it. What do we got? What is today? 6? Yeah, we'll have another meeting on 20. Anybody else?
American Legion is a burger starting.
I already had one tonight. First in line. Legion or this one?
VFW.
American Legion.
VFW tonight.
Yeah, the VFW's tonight. The
Legion
Legion's
tomorrow night.
Legion's tomorrow night, Ron?
Right,
What burgers do they do?
sliders.
Sliders.
Okay, I don't know what a
It
slider
starts,
is.
it'd be for
My brother. Oh, yes.
So the public could be observant of the bicycle traffic for the
That's what I
Track
was thinking
100
of.
this weekend.
Trek is this weekend, yeah.
It'll just be Saturday.
Just one day,
One day.
Saturday? Okay. Thank you very much, Trek, on Saturday. Bikers.
Next concert in the park is the 27th, which is after the next meeting, but I thought I would bring that up.
I appreciate it. 27 concert. Got anything you want to add?
No.
You sure?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Charlie, second by Burke, to adjourn.
They
All in
slide
favor?
it in, they slide right out.
Motion carried.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where's my drawing chair?
Oh, I didn't even notice. God, I'm not even gone yet.
Call the June
I'm gonna
6th
go to my office tomorrow.
Public Works and Property Committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Austin Cool here.
Jody Haslell here.
Wired here. All present in the call report. Citizen input. I don't see any that aren't on committees or staff.
Meeting minutes.
Oh, good lord. Approval of meeting minutes for May 2nd, 2024.
So we need.
Austin Cool, approved meeting minutes from May 2nd, 2024.
Haslell, the second.
I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Austin Cool and a second from Jody Osley. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Citizen input, still nobody. Project oversight and updates. Do you have anything to offer? You don't have much project going on, do we?
No, other than chip sealing.
And we don't have
That's
any
coming up
full on
later.
parking lot yet, right?
No.
No setup.
And Jefferson County is gonna do a couple streets under that budget.
Did they get back to Chad finally?
Yes, they called them today. so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to see that in writing.
Right?
Chad, yeah, well, Chad said he just got a verbal, right?
Yes, it's a verbal.
Right. Definitely need to see that in writing. Not that I don't trust Chad. I just want to make Jefferson County sure that they're giving us the right information. Perfect.
Absolutely, nothing wrong with having that already. Excellent.
With that money.
Unfinished business, I see nothing listed. I suspect we are still bouncing around picking up trees and brush.
We're done.
You done with the storm damage?
Yeah.
Nice, very nice. New business. Resolution 2024-11, award of a contract for chip sealing. This seems to be within the budgeted amount, actually below, if I remember correctly, in speaking with Chad. We're just looking for a motion to deal with that contract.
Austin Cool make a motion to approve resolution 2024-11, awarding a contract for chip sealing bids.
I'll second that.
I have a first, motion and a second for the resolution 2024-11 chip seal contract. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Future agenda items and announcements, community calendar. June. Oh, start the debate. Any announcements? Mayor, anything fun?
No, not at the moment.
Perfect.
Not till tomorrow, right?
Well, technically fun starts Sunday.
Sunday.
I'll be in Greece for 10 days.
Perfect.
We all hold down the fort while I'm gone.
We'll
Jean's
do what we
already stole my
can.
chair and having left it.
We'll try not to let Tim write too many executive orders.
There you go.
No problems are allowed while you're gone.
Correct.
Is the July one on July 4th?
Will be canceled, that one too, probably.
Yeah, we'll talk about council later if it needs to, depends on what happens at prior other committees, if we gotta do
Okay.
a special meeting before or after, really just depends on timing, so. But for now, yeah, you can probably safely say Public Works won't have anything, but you never know.
You never know. I suspect it wouldn't be the 4th anyway.
No, for sure, it would not be the 4th, guaranteed.
Okay.
Yes, that's a guarantee.
Right.
Okay.
If nothing else,
Austin Cool make a motion to adjourn.
Julie Haslett, I'll second that.
a motion is second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Have a nice day, folks.
In order.
I'm going to call the Special Finance, Insurance, and Personnel Committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Cool here.
Wait here.
Thomas here. We have new business, resolution 2024-15, clear government presentation and software. We are ready.
All you, Tori.
You're on.
Okay, sorry, yeah, I can't hear anyone other than you well, so.
That's perfectly fine.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for doing a special meeting, so that we could take some time to review your stuff today. Yeah, going out of your way to review this, I appreciate that. And so, as you probably all know, at this point, I've been talking with Lana about some budgeting tools for the community. And so, I'll take some time to actually go over these tools with you today. But I want to just introduce who ClearGov is first. And can everyone see my screen all right, like our mission?
Yes.
Perfect, okay. So ClearGov, we are the leading provider of budgeting tools to local governments. And how it came to be is that we recognize that historically there weren't a lot of good options for GovTech for small to medium-sized municipalities. And so a lot of communities were left to using Excel and doing everything really manual because everything was created for the private sector or for really large cities like New York, Chicago. And so ClearGov stepped up and we started looking at local governments and how we could help make that budgeting process easier. And so that is our mission, to provide you with software that's easy to use so you can budget better. And specifically in my conversations with Lana, the goal is, she mentioned that it's important for you guys to find a user-friendly system, not only for Lana to use, but all the department heads as well. And that ultimately this whole form is customizable, so if any piece of that is like, that's a little too much, then you can, feel free to remove it or not put it in. But what you'll see, or what one will see on her end, is an automated project overview page. So this kind of, Lana had mentioned that there's some data re-entry with the department heads right now, that they have to, do their budget in Excel and then enter it into the accounting system. And so the great thing about this is that they can enter it once, and then this data will actually import into Excel, so you don't have to re-enter it. And it will also create this automated project overview page. So you can quickly, see all the details associated with that project. You have the line item detail broken down there as well. And then this also automatically will pull into your budget book. So this is the Village of Lupernago's budget book. So all of their capital data is automatically pulled in, but also those individual project pages are pulled in for your community members. Again, this is customizable, so if you don't want to reveal all that information, you don't have to, but it's easy to pull in, so you don't have to duplicate, recreating it. But the real tool that's helpful as far as planning out your budget is in this scenarios tab. And so you're able to build out as many different scenarios as you'd like. And what you'll see is you'll see your different funds available, and then the different projects that are filling up those funds. And so the value of this tool is that she'll have all those requests already consolidated into the platform, and now she can quickly sort through and say, okay, how do we best allocate our budget? I have a visualization of where we're under budget, where we're over budget. I can look up projects easily. I can decide, hey, what if we don't do this project? What's the impact to the budget, and see that result? Or I can also get more granular, and so you can actually see the different costs associated with that project and say, okay, for this project, yeah, again, we're going to start with planning and building, but construction, we won't get to in the first year, so I'm going to move this cost to the next year. So she can begin to make adjustments and really see the impact to the budget. And then through that process, you can build different scenarios. And so she's able to present to the finance committee and the council eventually as well. Like, hey, these are 3 different options we have. Best case, we take on this many projects. Worst case, this is what we do. And it's a forward-looking tool as well. So she knows, hey, we didn't get done a project this year, but she can slate it for next year and the following years that are upcoming. And then lastly, it actually automates a dashboard for you. So it'll have all of those capital costs associated with it, those project overview pages broken up by the types of requests that they are, and then the overall different scenarios will each have a dashboard that you can use to present that information. And all this information you can also export. So you can, those project pages can become PDFs, scraps you can pull out and enter somewhere else if you needed to. But again, we're trying to minimize having to redo things and re-enter information somewhere else, and have easy access to that information. That was the capital tool. I went right here. I know I kind of went through that fast. But are there any questions or concerns at this point?
No, this is basically replacing
Planet.
Planet. Yeah, that's what I thought. Guys got any questions? Can you hear him?
Does the current year
I
expenses,
cannot, so you'll have to repeat the question.
during the current year that's exhibited there, does the current expenses come over from Casell to update that automatically, or is this just strictly a budgeting tool?
I only caught the part where you said, is this strictly a budgeting tool? But,
I'll share.
Try it one more time, can you hear me now?
yes, I can.
In the current budget year, let's say 2024, is the expenses as they're consumed in Casell, do those come back over and update the scenarios here?
Yeah, very good question. So you were right, when
was always kind of an odd duck. It was a moving target, so being able to see something like that and doing different scenarios in real time without, having to go back to this particular program, we could do it sitting here during a budget meeting, so that's nice. All right, so far so good.
Okay, great. And yeah, you hit it on the head when you say, instead of having her to go back and build out new Excel sheets, you could do it live. Let's make decisions, let's say this project or this project, and really review your different options, for sure. Okay, so then moving into personnel. Personnel is going to have a similar feel. What you'll do to set up in the tool is you'll establish the different rules that your community follows. So she'll enter, the different wage schedules, additional pay, benefits that apply to your different employees. We have a lot of common practices built out in the system, but they're also customizable. And then she'll be able to see each of your individual employees on a granular level. So, for example, let me read this, my internet's being a little wonky. So she'll be able to see the employee, their total compensation, what step they're on, when they started, what makes up that compensation. But then just like, is there a question?
So we don't have this live now, we just use a spreadsheet?
And so then in scenarios, just like in capital, you're able to, again, make those same type of what-if adjustments. So you, as a council could sit down and say, okay, let's compare, what does a 3% cost of living adjustment, how does that impact our budget? And not even just impact our budget this year, but also our projections for years down the line. And you could do that, you could say, let's do a 3% adjustment, maybe, a $500 end of year bonus. And then you could also say, let's hire 2 new police officers. Did I do too high of an end of year bonus for you guys, or is that what you're
No. The chicken scratches that we do during like the police contract that we just did, it would have been so much easier to be able to push those button there instead of Tim and I with our calculators and everybody's doing it that way. Yes, would have been very helpful last year.
If only we could go back in time.
Correct.
So yeah, you can, and then you can play around not only with the wages, but again, new position requests or vacancies. So you can build out different scenarios easily. You can clone them as well. So if there's just one thing you want to adjust, you could say, okay, everything's the same, except we're just going to do a 3.5 COLA adjustment instead. It's really easy to make those comparisons. Again, the goal being, how do we best allocate our budget? And then you have those projections as well. Any questions on this part of the tool?
Not at the moment.
Okay. And then just same thing with capital. There's always going to be a dashboard, so she'll have access to or you'll all have access to the different scenarios, and you can see, best case versus worst case. You can use this in union negotiations as well, and kind of present different options. And so you'll be able to present that information. Okay, so for operational, at this point, what you'll do is you can actually import the scenario that
And this is still all my view, just on steroids.
I've never worked in my view.
I thought that's what this was. I mean, it's very similar. I mean, it looks very much like my view, only better. And this comes, but it works with, but it works with Cassell the same way my view does. Yeah, got it, good.
Can you make comments?
And then
Can you,
the
oh,
other-
quick question, can you make comments on line items? Can you drop down and see invoices?
Yeah, you're getting ahead of me.
Sorry. Shut up, Charlie.
Exactly what you're saying. Comments.
Right,
So,
right.
you know, you can communicate back and forth. For
Okay.
example, this is travel and conferences, so you can say, you know, increase due to new conference this year.
Okay.
You can submit comments, invoices under attachments, so again, hey, maybe we're allocating more to the budget this year because we actually spent way more on conferences than we thought last year. So they could include those receipts from previous years, maybe as a justification for why they're increasing that amount. And they can also even do itemization, so if you prefer them to actually list out, hey, we're gonna go to the GFOA conference, we're going to go to the NTAW conference.
Sure.
She will always put that under postage and delivery accidentally, but.
That's okay. It's very small, we can't tell what you did.
Oh, no. So you're able to itemize those different conferences,
Sure.
the different expenses associated with that, and it will total up those line items for you, to the overall line item. And so, yeah, you have
Good.
all of those different options that you were mentioning. At this point, or the department heads, you know, would submit their budget back to her. At this point, it does lock them out of editing the budget further until she gives them further control. The goal with that, again, is to reduce errors so that, you know, one person's not making further edits on their Excel sheet when you're trying to consolidate the budget on the other end. And so, you can definitely do multiple levels of requests, but just to make sure that everyone's on the same step.
So let me ask you a question. One of the processes that we do, obviously lots of spreadsheets and things like that, and we have to take a lot of notes. So as we're sitting here as a group going through stuff, and we say, we're gonna lower this one by, $50, but we're gonna increase that one by 75. Can we do that live? Like, she can just sit here and type that in? Do you save it then, like as revision 1 or revision 2? I mean, is there such a thing like that?
So I don't know that you can save it by different revisions, but if you see here, you can click into the different line items, and then you can take notes. So you could just
Okay.
have the dates of like, hey, you know, on 6/6, we reviewed
Okay.
this and decided this, and then on 6/8, and you would be able to see the.
And that's fine, that's good, that would work too.
Yep.
Yeah, the blue and white sheet don't gotta be there no more.
Good.
Yeah.
Is it reportable?
Is that reportable, meaning like you wanna print it, Charlie?
Like the changes, if you had notes, is there a way to pull that out of the system to give you all the notes for?
Can you just print the notes then, separately? Is there a way to customize that, like we just wanna export the notes so we can just kinda look back? More like we're reviewing our minutes from our meeting, per se.
Yeah, great question. I know we have a report builder where you're able to pull the different segments of this section in different reports. I haven't asked if we could ever just do just the notes, you know, just pull that section, but I know we can pull the different elements of the overall worksheet, so I imagine
Okay.
you can. I would have to confirm though.
Otherwise, we just click on it, we can see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, especially as we're starting something new, you know, trust but verify, it'd be kinda nice, you know, we're still gonna print paper for a while.
Tori, can you find that, can you find that out pretty easily if they can do that?
I can't hear you, I'm so sorry. It sounds like I'm awful, like.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if she can.
I don't know I have no idea.
Can you find that out easily or quickly enough as far as the notes, if we can pull that, please?
Yes. I will actually message someone right away and get on that.
All right? Okay, well, what else you got?
Okay. So then, at this point, this is really just the approval process, so she's able to go through, you can go through line by line, approve, deny, it'll update your department heads as well as what's been approved or denied, if there are further edits made. And then you can track the progress of your budget through the system. So, for example, if at this point you have that proposed budget, it'll become its own line item. And so you can always see, you started with this baseline, you moved to this proposed, then it got adopted to this.
Sure.
And then, of course, if there are any amendments, down the road.
Before we finalize it.
So that's the majority of OB or operational. Is there any other questions on that before I show you the digital budget?
Well, we have about 4 minutes, so how quick can you do the digital?
Real quick, so really all you need to know is that, Lana has seen the back end of it, but all of these graphs and charts are actually automated for you, from that operational budget that you just created. And this will automatically be updated, as you go through that budget process as well. So, if you want to do a proposed budget book, and then you change those numbers, or they get amended along the way, all of this will be automatically updated for you. You can include that line item detail. And then, I know you mentioned, still doing some kind of paper, at least initially, and so you can definitely email this out as a PDF to everyone, and print it out as well. And that will be automatically formatted with tailored content and all of that for you.
So we do like a narrative at the end that touches each little department and like the changes and whatnot, and that becomes part of our budget meeting so that, people can see what we've done, what we worked through, and then all of that gets put on our website. I
Yeah,
thought you said something about a narrative,
Yeah,
Lana.
it gives you,
Yes.
yes.
yeah, you can definitely add narrative. So you can see this table of contents up here. They have, all their different department
Yep.
pages included. They have capital improvement. And so, yeah, it's a simple back end. You can copy and paste things in. We also have AI technology that we actually have used to help create,
Narrative stuff.
that you can use to help with that narrative piece. So what it'll do is it'll actually read your budget data for you.
Nice.
And then give you a starting place. We call it first draft for a reason. So it'll create a first draft for you, and then you can go in and make some edits if you like.
Sweet.
Alright.
Anybody got anything over here? You guys look so excited.
No.
One thing I was on
Hang on one second.
the licensing, maybe, or, is it perceived or login, or how is it, is it a one-time fee, and you have many people get into it?
Oh, that's good. Ask her when we use it.
So,
Here's you.
How many users do you have? Is it
I
based,
think it's on there.
is it just one fee for the whole thing, or do we have to have so many licenses or seats, or how many people can have access?
Great question. You can have unlimited users, no additional cost.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah, and that would be other piece too, as far as training is concerned, that's also, included in that annual subscription.
Okay.
There's no additional cost. I know that my view, was pretty expensive anytime you needed, further training
Yes.
or questions. So, we have a couple options. We have an online platform that you can be training through, as well as continuous access to. We've developed training not only for, Lana as a finance director, but also for department heads. And then we also have one-on-one, someone who will be familiar with Waterloo, your questions and what, you can email them and just, I think you'll have.
So training is
Call them
included.
directly and get trained. Yep.
Good. And for the first year, you were talking about prorating it, just so we could play with it and.
Yes, so, yeah, you guys are in the ideal spot because previously, the lowest amount we offered was, it would be $20,000 annually. But recently we reevaluated that, and for smaller communities, it's now $11,000 annually. But for the
that it dropped to 11,000 annually, so that's nice.
I told her I wouldn't be talking to her if it was fun.
Just one question, Kevin, did you get your question asked in reference to when they pay the bills, are we gonna know on a monthly or timely basis where we are?
No,
Versus
this
what's
is just,
budgeted?
it's just, yeah, it's just a tool for
Budgeted.
budgeting and forecasting.
So this tool is just budgeting and forecasting, we're not gonna be able to see our monthly financials are different, right?
Yeah,
Won't be
like
able
the,
to see our expenditures. Our monthly expenditures.
Our monthly expenditures, does it show up on this?
Like actuals for the current
Actuals.
year
Yes.
actuals.
Current year actuals, does it show that?
So, yes, it's not a monthly budgeting tool. You can, in the operational, there's a column for your year-to-date actuals. So you can actually, we have a self-import option where you can update those numbers whenever you'd like to kind of compare where you're at. But it wasn't designed to be a month-to-month, budgeting tool. But you can still pull those reports. You'll be able to import this into Excel and then pull reports into Excel.
So we could do that monthly?
Could,
Yes.
it's not designed to do it, but it's
You
possible.
can.
I think that's, we're losing an important part, in my view, by not being able to.
I think that's important, you're not gonna do it on a monthly basis, but if you're looking out 5 years, maybe biannually you're gonna be doing that, and that you can certainly do that, you can export it out of Excel, import it in this, and do a comparison of how you're kind of looking year-to-date, how that flows out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's still like the monthly.
Yeah, we get the monthly, in our monthly reports anyhow. It's
Out
only
of
the
this, out of my view.
percentages wise, but you're not gonna look out 5 years on how this year's is doing, so it's not something you're gonna do on a monthly basis, I don't think. This is more for forecasting out,
I understood that part.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if that was,
but it's good that you can do it.
You can do it, yeah.
Okay.
That's probably something we can build in as we go. Just like kind of did with my view. All right, well, our time is up, but does anybody have any more quick questions?
motion to adjourn, or is there a motion on resolution
Yeah, there we go. Yes.
2024
Actually, we're probably done with you, Tori.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Is
Appreciate
there a
it.
motion to recommend the
Bye.
council any action on resolution 2024-15?
I will motion to recommend to council that they approve the proposal listed in the resolution. For the bill.
Thomas will second that motion. We have a motion from Cole, second from Thomas. Recommend council approval of resolution 2024-15. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We have 2 to 1. Thank you. Need a motion to adjourn.
Council motion?
I'll second.
Have a motion from Cole, second from Mayor to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.